I imagine most of you have visited the Quindaro site. Probably everybody has, but just in case you haven't, I do hope that that there's room, because it is by reservation only. I'm not sure what the situation is there, but maybe some space, and if not, there are other opportunities to actually visit the site. And one of the really memorable things, at least for me, at that site, it's a little bit of a hike, but is go down to the river where you see the remnants of the landing place. That was the key to the whole thing, was the stone landing place, was the unique spot on the river where you could actually pull a steamboat in and have it stabilized along the riverbank while you did your business. But many of the travelers who came there were many people who wrote about their visits. They were constantly, their stories were appearing in Eastern newspapers all the time, describing their experiences. And they described one common thing about coming to Quindaro, which was the sort of almost imaginary quality of the place. They would come up along the river, and there wouldn't seem to be anything there. It would just be trees. And then they would debark and walk up through more trees, and then all of a sudden this town just opened up in front of them. And as Larry was saying, and others have said, there were hundreds of people busy. The town just sprung from the ground. And there were hundreds of, there were actually thousands, to over 2,000 people there. And it all happened so quickly. And for me, there's a kind of dreamlike quality to Quindaro. It was a quality that was in people's minds, too, when they started the place in 1856, 57. And that I think still survives. It sort of explains why Quindaro continues to kind of grow in our imagination, while other towns, and there were so many of them, just vanished into dust, and there's not even a remnant of them left. But there will be people still talking about Quindaro 100 years from now. They'll have more to say than we do. But for some reason, Quindaro just has a quality to it that excites our imagination, and did right from the beginning. So what I'm going to look at in this brief sort of summary of the paper that I wrote about these views of Quindaro, what I'm going to talk about is these different ways in which Quindaro has been imagined and is still being imagined in our own time. Probably the most common way of imagining it back in the 1850s was as an extension of Eastern values, Protestantism, Yankeeism, all the sort of money-oriented, materialistic values that led people to think that they could take this very unpromising site, the site at the base of a huge cliff, basically, and turn it into, well, a metropolis. That's what they thought they were going to build. One of the early missionaries who came wrote this about Quindaro. You can read it. Never before have we seen more beautifully blended in any community Eastern shrewdness and skill with Western generosity and liberality. Quindaro deserves to succeed. This sort of doubtful tone about that, deserves to succeed. So sure, if it will. But he's hopeful because of this Eastern quality, shrewdness. That was one of the qualities that he's praising. But he's not praising it for entirely unselfish reasons. He's also trying to raise money. He's trying to appeal to Eastern backers to come as free skaters or to give money, which was really what they wanted. They wanted that money to do this building. It didn't come from nowhere. There were no banks, you know. They had to get it from the East. That was Joseph Brooks, who also had another interest, of course, as a missionary, because he was a missionary to the Wyandotte. And Quindaro herself, Quindaro Guthrie, was one of their examples of the civilizing mission of his church, a church that was one of the first churches that built there and that had a strong contact with the Wyandotte. And of course, as has been mentioned more than once, another dream was the metropolis, that Quindaro would be a great hub, commercial, a political hub. In fact, Charles Robinson imagined that it would be the capital. He thought it would be Topeka. That's what he thought. And he actually proposed, before there was anything on the ground, he proposed that a bridge would be built across the river from Parkville to Quindaro. The kind of dreamers these people were. Of course, at the time, railroads were still being built. Before the Civil War, they were still some distance away, but they were, the hope was that Quindaro would be kind of the buckle of a transcontinental railway that would connect New York, Chicago, and finally the West Coast. And Quindaro would be the center point of it. Can you imagine that? Another dream that propelled many Easterners to come was the dream of land. There were a lot of advertisements that appeared in Eastern newspapers boasting about the richness of Kansas farmland. Of course, it's not all rich. Some of it's pretty tough, but they didn't mention that. They mentioned the parts that were really rich, and those rich parts happened, many of them, to be controlled by the Wyandotte or the Delaware. But the attitude was that that wouldn't last long, and that point has already come up, that the white settlers were confident that what had happened already many times, which was that the Indians were going to lose their land, was going to happen pretty soon again, and there were plenty of promises to that effect. John Walden wrote about the land, the Delaware land, farmland, in the terms you can see on this overhead. A wide, profitless waste containing many thousand acres of land owned by an indolent set of beings who, by their presence and possession, are preventing it from being converted into grain fields and gardens. That's the way he imagined this land, that it was profitable and it would be, again, a sort of Eastern garden mecca, as long as, once you had removed the native population, or at least the Wyandotte population, the Delaware population from that land. So they were confident that was going to happen, and they didn't wait for it to happen. They moved on to it anyway. In other words, this was mentioned previously as well, that squatting was, took place against U.S. policy, but with no real enforcement, so there was a lot of squatting of the land. Another sort of way of imagining Quindaro, and Kansas too, of course, was as a new world, a new place that was just different from the East, different from the cities of the East, different from the class structure of the East, that you could be free, and in this case, this is a promotion, information for immigrants to Kansas by the National Kansas Committee. This particular screed appeared in newspapers across the country to try to lure immigrants to come to Kansas. And all of us Kansans can sit and read that and kind of chuckle at the description of the pure air. They don't mention allergies or anything like that. But the image here is of self-renewal. You're coming to Kansas to be a new person, to have a new life. Now, quite a few people got off the boat in Quindaro and took one look at the place, got right back on the boat. But most of them didn't, because they had sold everything. They were 100% in. And of course, many of them came for idealistic reasons, but a lot of them came to that land as well. So the passage refers to the settler being rejuvenated, old complaints gone. It sounds like patent medicine, endowed with a fresh fund of constitutional vigor. Let him build his house on the uplands, dig his well, he cannot get water, spring water, eat, sleep, and bathe regularly, and avoid the poisoned alcoholic drinks of the West. Prohibition was, another kind of northeastern thing, which alcohol was associated with the slave power with the other side of the river and with the continent. So, 1857, that was the big period, the Great Migration, and they had to be ready for that. They had to be ready by 1857, and quite remarkably, they almost were. I won't have to go into this, you can read it yourself, and it's already, Larry already mentioned it, that shares in the town company shares went very quickly from $150 up over $1,000. 1,200. It has a rough site, someone said, but again, energy, that old Yankee energy, that old Anglo-Saxon energy that they believed in so much, would overcome all obstacles. And here are just some of the enterprises that went up in that belief. Just within a few months, this was by May 1857. January was the official foundation of the town. And of course, you couldn't do anything until, this year, until May probably, but maybe that year they started in March or something, but still, they couldn't do much. But within 2 or 3 months, they had all these businesses. Doctors, they had forwarding commissions because you needed somebody to forward the goods that were coming in for travelers, for settlers. You had a German stone cutter. You had real estate agents. Most of them were on Kansas Avenue. You had all these businesses. You had the Wyandotte House Hotel. You had the Quindaro House Hotel, 2 Hotel, almost finished. I don't know how you stay in an almost finished hotel, but they did. So they were very busy, and they did a lot of work in a short time. But I think it's also important to remember that the dominant forces that came in were Free State forces. They were not abolitionist people. John Walden, when he set up the Chinduan newspaper, in his inaugural issue, he said, I'd like you to just take a look at what he says here. Kansas must be consecrated free labor by the voice of the people, but he called abolitionist an appropriate title. He didn't want to be thought of as an abolitionist. Now, Clarina Nichols, before I get to Clarina, the slavers on the pro-slave forces on the other side of the Missouri River saw Quindaro as what they called an abolitionist hold, and they accused people in Quindaro of stealing slaves, not to free them, but to sell them. That was the image that they tried to create, that the abolitionists, that the so-called abolitionists were driven solely by self-interest. But Walden made a point of denying that Quindaro people were in the business of saving slaves. He said, we won't ask them who they are. We won't subject them to any query. But if we know they're fugitives, we won't countenance their staying here. So for Walden, the accusation by the Star of the West that Quindaro people were sheltering slaves was slander that was perpetuated or caused by rival towns, because these little towns were very much in competition with each other, and they would do anything they could to hurt the other town, and that's what he thought was happening. Clarina Nichols, and I'll just skip through this slide, but Clarina Nichols said that she had been, and others in Quindaro had been involved in the Underground Railroad, but she only said that years later. She didn't say that in 1857 when she was living there. She said were several threats of Quindaro being attacked. And the cannon was mentioned, I think, previously. They got a cannon called Lazarus to protect themselves. Never fired it. They never fired it in anger. They fired it for ceremony. But they thought they were going to have to protect themselves from invaders. I'm just about to finish, but let's remind ourselves that the Kansas-Nebraska Act was specifically directed to the freedom of white people, and only whites could vote in the Kansas-Nebraska Act. But the existence of Quindaro, and I think I'll end on this point, the existence of Quindaro did something important. It was very brief, really, less than a year, actually, as a fully living town, what we might call Old Quindaro. Didn't last very long. And John Walden left in 1858, left town. But he said it was a noble ideal because it changed the equation, it changed the calculus. Before Quindaro was founded, Free State people couldn't get off a boat in safety. They couldn't get off at Wyandotte. They couldn't get off at Leavenworth. Kansas City, Missouri, it was said that people were beaten up all the time in Kansas City, Missouri. But once Quindaro opened the door, then all the other towns who were potential landing spots saw there was going to be a big loss of money. They were going to lose a lot of trade to Quindaro. And so they began to change the picture. And by 1858, the picture had changed. And Walden left town, I think, feeling that Quindaro had kind of served its purpose. I think that's where I'll finish. That Quindaro's moment in the sun was very brief. It was like a dream almost. But it left an impact, permanent impact, because it changed the calculus on the Missouri River and forced every town in that area